they were, they were exceptional people. And but that was the war, and it was a very trying time for everyone.
Let's stop for a minute. Okay, Mom, tell us about after the war. Tell us what happened when finally all the troops went away and things started to get normalized.
Well, that was a happy day, really. But it was slow in coming. And
didn't the Japanese come and sign the end of the war treaties right there in Honolulu, or no?
I don't believe so. I really don't know. I was too young to get involved in that type of politics. But after the war, Grandpa, we moved to the island of Oahu from Kawaii, and Grandpa went to work at the Pearl Harbor Navy Yard. Grandma worked there also because she cleaned rooms for the military people. And life started from there. I went to high school, and life was good after the war. After the war, life was good.
Tell me about, at the same time we've been discussing your grandma and grandpa, tell me about my grandma and grandpa and how they dealt with the war and what they were doing and what information you know about that.
Well, your grandma and grandpa lived in OAHU, and they didn't, when they learned about the war, well, I guess there were planes in that area, and they were just shots. I mean, they didn't drop any bombs, but the Japanese were shooting the plantation company, but it didn't do that much damage, and they hid under the bed and wherever they could find comfortable space. But no, it really didn't affect them too much. Not the way I think it affected us.
So is there anybody...
They were not really involved.
Is there anybody that was over there that we had that was in the military while all that was going on, or?
Well, Grandpa had 4 nephews who went out to war and was taken away from the islands, and I believe they went to Kwajalein, and 1 went to Eniwetok, and I think 2 went to the Philippines, but that's all I know. And all 3 of them came back with malaria and tuberculosis.
Wow.
And
so the war was finally over, and finally you were in high school, and then pretty soon you got out of high school, and didn't you go to a business college or something like that?
Yes, I did. I went to business college, left the business college, went to work for American Factors, which was one of the big 5s in the islands.
And who were they? What did they do?
Well, they owned the islands. There are 5 big, what could I say? They were...
Corporations?
Well, yeah, they were corporations.
So what did American Factors do? What was their
well,
business?
American Factors wholesaled food and medical and medicine and various things to all the islands, to the island of Hawaii and Kawaii and Maui and all of that, and they sold their food in bulk. It was a wholesale you know. They owned Liberty House. I don't know if they're still in business today. I remember working there, and because I was an employee at American Factors, I could go to every department and just charge what I wanted. And because Grandpa was still ill, no, he had already left his job with the military, with the Navy, and he was still ill. He was still having a lot of problems. Money was not coming in. I supported my family, my grandma and grandpa, and with foods and whatever I could get from American Factors. And I was earning $140 a month at that time. And I remember getting my paycheck, and all I received that month was $6.
Must have charged it up.
I charged it up. I couldn't help it.
Now go forward a little bit and tell me when you finally met my father.
Well,
and the circumstances regarding that, and marrying my father, and
in 1953, I had a girlfriend who was a nurse at Tripler Army Hospital. She and I would go to the hospital and go to the movies there. And she knew...
At the hospital they had movies?
Oh, yes. And she knew a bunch of guys there, and I was almost 20 years old then. And, my grandmother was so strict with me, I couldn't do anything. But as long as I was with Pat, it was okay. And I went to Triple Army Hospital because we were going to the movie, and I had to wait until she got off her shift. So I was waiting in the cafeteria, and this guy came over and said, "You have the most beautiful hair." And it was long and curly and red, and so I thanked him, and then he asked me if he could sit. And I said, "Sure, that's fine." And then later he said, "Well, you know, the guys over there are playing cards, and they're playing hearts. I would like to teach you to play hearts." And so I went over to his table, and then Pat got off her shift. We went to the movies, went back to the cafeteria because we wanted something to drink. And this guy, Raymond Snyder, was still there. And he wanted to know if he could take me home. And I said, "Well, I'm going home on a bus." Pat and I were. So he said, "Oh, good, I'll go with you." So before I knew it, there was Raymond Snyder and his friend Gil, who got on the bus with Pat and I, and we went to Kawaii. Well, your dad saw me to the door, and everything was fine. Well, the next day, Gil, who was Ray's friend, called me. How he got my phone number is beyond me. And he called me and he said, "You don't want that guy. He wears false teeth." And I said, "Well, that's none of your business, whether he wears false teeth or not."
Right.
So your dad called and said he was going to come over. And I said, "No, don't." I said, "I have lots of things to do. I don't want you to come over." But he did anyway. And I was sitting on the lawn in Honolulu, digging up weeds. I had my hair in curlers. My shorts was pinned at the side. And I looked like that. And I had no makeup on. And he thought I looked gorgeous, I guess, because he wouldn't stay away. And My Aunt Emma